Welcome to Val's Sweet Kitchen. I got this recipe from my mom's treasure chest and Next Generation built on it. So get a roasting pan full of hot water, put it in your oven, and preheat it to 350 degrees. And let's go have some fun. We'll start with all the dry ingredients. You take 3 tablespoons of flour, switch to a bigger strainer, leveled, 3/4 cup of sugar, and a dash of salt. And use a bigger dish. Sift that all together. We'll just help those through. And then take the zest of 1 lemon, which is about 2 teaspoons. And when you zest your lemon, make sure you only get the yellow part. Don't go all the way down to the white, because that's bitter. The zest has so much flavor. And then to 3/4 cup of milk, add 2 egg yolks. And I always separate them outside the bowl. That way, if a yolk is going to burst, it's going to burst in here and not in there. And then also add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, freshly squeezed, of course. If you've got a small lemon, it's pretty much the whole lemon. Whisk that all together. And then for your egg whites, you just whisk that to stiff peaks. That's stiff peaks. See the mountain peak? Now we just fold them all in together. I'm gonna get the zest mixed around. And take your liquid and mix it into the dry ingredient. And then take your egg whites and fold that in. The egg whites has a lot of air that we just whisked into it. And that air is going to expand in the oven and make the cake rise to the top and leave a delicious pudding on the bottom. This is just a magic dish. And distribute it evenly amongst 4 ramekins, or custard cups if you have them. And bake for 45 to 50 minutes or until the top starts turning a nice golden brown. And make sure the water comes up at least halfway to 3/4 of the way up alongside your ramekins or custard cups. Now for the raspberry version and the blackberry version, that's a little different. You just take a 1/2 cup of packed raspberries and a 1/4 cup of sugar and reduce that by about half. It's ready when it leaves a distinct path behind the spoon. And strain out all the seeds. This is also going to cool it down. So when we mix it in with the rest of the ingredients, it doesn't start cooking everything. And don't forget all that goodness down there on the bottom. And then add 3 tablespoons of your delicious raspberry syrup to your milk and egg yolks. And whisk that all together. And if you have any of your delicious syrup left over, save it and set it aside to drizzle over it later. And then just proceed as we did in the first one. Take your 3 tablespoons of flour and sift that in there. See those lumps? That's why we sift. And then the remaining 1/2 cup of sugar and a dash of salt. Give that a little mix around and add in your wet ingredients and fold in your egg whites. If you want, you can add a couple of drops of red food dye just to re-emphasize raspberry, and pour it right on in and bake for 45 to 50 minutes or until the top starts turning a nice golden brown. For these huge blackberries, pack 1 cup full of berries. Add a 1/4 cup of sugar and simmer this down in half over medium heat. The berries will break down, but I just help them a bit. Strain them to remove the seeds and don't forget the bottom. Add 3 tablespoons to the milk and yolks. Set aside to drizzle whizzle on top. Sift 3 tablespoons of flour and the remaining 1/2 cup of sugar. Whisk in the milk and fold in the egg whites. Stiff peaks. Pour into the ramekins and bake for 45 to 50 minutes. For the strawberry flavor, remove the white part from the top of the berry, cut off any unripe area, and cube them for easier reduction cooking. Pack 1 cup full of berries. Add a 1/4 cup of sugar and simmer this down in half over medium heat. Strain them to remove the seeds and don't forget the bottom. Add 3 tablespoons to the milk and yolks. Set aside the rest of the syrup to drizzle later. Sift 3 tablespoons of flour and the remaining 1/2 cup of sugar. Whisk in the milk and fold in the egg whites. Stiff peaks. Pour into the ramekins and bake for 45 to 50 minutes. And of course you do the orange the same way as the lemon. I hope you have fun today. If you did, give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Boop that bell so that way you'll be notified when I make my next video.